We'll discuss that after 9 o'clock. But right now, when adult children bring a romantic partner into a parent's home, it often provides benefits to everybody. The adult kids could get some help from the grandparents if they have kids of their own. The parents might be able to put away some more money for their own retirement if the kids are paying for some of the mortgage. But it can also be a source of conflict if the younger couple ends up separating or getting divorced. If a separation occurs while the pair is living in one of their parents' home, legal troubles could soon follow. Joining us to talk about this is Laura Paris, associate lawyer with Shulman Law Firm. Hi, Laura. Thanks for doing this.
Hi, Barb. Thanks for having me.
How common is it that young couples are living with one set of parents?
It's actually quite common. It's actually interesting. Statistics show that the GTA has one of the highest percentages of children living at home with their parents when they're in, long-term relationships and having children. I think a lot of it is based on the fact that housing prices are very expensive. And it's basically leaving these younger kids with one of two options, either to get money from their parents to be able to purchase a home, or to basically stay at home in order to save money to maybe one day purchase a home of their own.
I think in a lot of cases, at least for most people I know, the older parents would also welcome having them in the home, especially if they're, in a separated suite, maybe in the basement. They like the company. It's kind of nice. I know a lot of people whose parents would be quite happy to do that.
Absolutely. There's definitely a convenience factor to it. And like you said, I mean, it works both ways. It's great even for the younger couple if they are having children. I mean, you kind of have a nanny built right into your home, right? So there's a lot of benefits, and grandparents do really like spending time with their grandchildren as well. And as well, like you said, if you are at a point where you're later in life and you still have a bit of a mortgage left off, your kids can actually help you contribute towards that mortgage so that when you are in retirement, you're mortgage free.
Okay, so this is where it gets tricky when kids are contributing money. If the relationship between the younger couple doesn't work out, what are some of the things that could go wrong?
So you have to look at it from two perspectives, from parties that are engaged in common law relationships and those that are actually married. When you're in a common law relationship, in circumstances where the couple has been contributing to the property, perhaps they've done renovations on it, and that's something you actually see quite often, where the kids will be living, or the younger couple will be living in the basement, and as a means of kind of paying their way, they'll renovate the basement in lieu of paying towards household expenses. Now, what that could actually relate, or what that could actually cause in terms of the legal rights, is it could create an unjust enrichment claim. And essentially what that is that the owners of the home, which would be the parents, were unreasonably enriched by the children's contributions to this property. And what that does is it could potentially create an interest in the property, at minimum, which provides the younger couple with the ability to make a claim against the parents for a percentage of equity in the home.
And that is the common law scenario?
That's in a common law scenario.
Okay.
Now, when you're looking at married couples, where it differs is that it won't necessarily, you still are open up to the same sort of unjust enrichment claim as a married couple, where one of the spouses can make a claim against the parents to say, again, in the same exact way that they enriched through their contributions to the property, and that entitles them to some sort of interest in the property. Outside of that, when you are married, the home that you're living in is considered a matrimonial home. When a home has a matrimonial home designation, what it provides is not only the ability to have equity in the property, but possessory rights over the property. Meaning that if the couple splits up, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have an automatic right to have the non-biological spouse move out. because of the matrimonial home designation, they do in fact have a right to possession of the property. So you may actually run into a problem where the parents want to, they have they're maybe feuding young couple in their home, and they want to get rid of one of them, keep their kid and get rid of the other. But because of this matrimonial home designation, which provides possessory rights, it's not that simple.
Do you see these examples in your office?
Absolutely. It's not something that's common, but we do see it come through the door, and it's actually, which is refreshing. We actually see this in consultations where parents are actually coming in saying, look, we are considering allowing our, son or daughter and their spouse to move into our home. What are we opening ourselves up to if we do this?
So if an older couple allows their child and a spouse to move into their home, just as an example, if the child and the spouse are not contributing anything financially, can there still be a negative consequence? I guess in the one case, I'm wondering, it could still be the matrimonial home.
If they are married, then their exposure is with respect to the possessory rights. If they aren't married and there's been no contributions whatsoever, technically you could try to make a claim through domestic duties, which is a lot harder to quantify. But for the most part, as long as there's no monetary contributions, you're safe to an extent.
Okay.
But there's always exceptions.
So if two couples in like parent and child and spouse are considering getting into this type of situation, what is the best thing for either party to do?
First and foremost, make sure you have clear intentions about what this arrangement means. If there is an agreement that, for example, like I mentioned, if you're choosing to, renovate the basement, for example, to make it a nicer living quarters, and the younger couple's the one that's going to be putting the money into that, there needs to be something clear, and you should do it by way of agreement, of course. But the starting point is to have a conversation about it and make sure that you're making it clear, okay, if we're allowing you to do this, this is going to be in lieu of rent. It's not going to result in any sort of equity rights in our property, but simply this is going to be your contribution, and we won't ask you to pay anything else. Obviously, getting that in writing is something that you would want to do. That's going to be your major protection, and that would be by way of an agreement. Now, if you're dealing with parties who that are married, and you want to try to protect yourself with respect to the possessory rights that are attached to a matrimonial home, you may want to get something such as a rental agreement in place that provides the ability to evict a tenant. Which will make it very clear that these are only tenants, and that the possessory rights are going to be competing against the tenant rights, right?
In your opinion, from what you've seen and how these things work, is it better for the couple who own the home to pay for the renovation and collect rent?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say if you don't have an intention to get an agreement in place, then the better thing to do would just be to get a simple rental agreement prepared and have their contributions be pursuant to a rental agreement.
Okay.
So and that would be even better than taking money towards expenses towards the home. Just set one price. Put it into a rental agreement, and then intentions are very clear. If and when the couple does break up, and if someone does try to make a claim, that rental agreement is going to make it very clear to the court and anybody looking at it that it was always intended that this money was going to be put towards rent and was not supposed to relate to provide any further rights in relation to that property.
Okay, I'm almost out of time, but in the very worst case scenario here, could a couple lose their home, be forced to sell their home if somebody claims a right to the home?
It depends on how much contributions were put into the property and how much equity the parties have in the property. So it's hard to say for sure, but if a significant amount of money was put into the home and all the tracings are there, for sure, it's a possibility that you could get to a point where you need to pay this couple back or this individual back for the contributions they put in, and by doing so, you may not have the liquid to do so, and selling your home may be the inevitable result.
Got it. Laura Paris, thanks for this.
Thank you so much.
Associate lawyer with Shulman Law Firm. I thought that was really interesting. I had never considered this, and I know a lot of couples who have lived with the parents or the in-laws. Have you been in that position? Have you ever had any kind of agreement in place? Have you considered having your child and spouse move in with you as it happened? 416-872-1010. Text us at 71010. Have any of those relationships gone sour? And were there any issues along these lines? 416-872-1010. You're listening to The Night Side. It's 8:45.